Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and today on the podcast, we're talking about disruption in the supply of coffee and the C market. Today's presenting sponsor of the podcast is the fabulous Baratza, ours and your favorite grinder company. I have a Baratza grinder. I love my Baratza grinder. I would never use anything but a Baratza grinder. And that's not just because of the grinder, although that's a big part of it. But the values of the company and their approach to the carbon footprint that they leave on the planet with their grinders is hugely important to them, and it's hugely important to me. So if you're in the market for a grinder or you're looking at wholesaling grinders, consider getting in contact with Baratza and checking out what their offerings are. You can do that at baratza.com or through their social media at Baratza. So today's topic, which is kind of a follow-on from yesterday's topic, which is yesterday we spoke about shipping. We spoke about its influence on the market. And today we're going to look at what the disruption in supply and the C market, what effect those two factors are in conjunction with shipping issues, what effect they're having on the coffee industry, on small business owners, and particularly how the disruption of the supply is affecting the supply of coffee to you, to the person who is watching this. A couple of important things to note that you may or may not know of. It's not just the shipping industry that determines whether or is determining why your coffee is not turning up on time at the moment. What's also happened is that there are geopolitical issues like what's happened in Colombia over the last couple of months that have stopped the supply of coffee leaving Colombia. And then we have yield issues in Brazil that have significantly reduced the availability of coffee by 30%. And so because there's less coffee due to weather issues over there, what you're having is that 30% less coffee from a country like Brazil stacked up on top of shipping issues coming out of Brazil into other countries is a serious disruptor to the coffee supply chain. Now, if you look at this on a global scale, Brazil's the number one coffee producing country in the world. Colombia is the number 3 coffee producing country in the world. 2 huge coffee producing countries experiencing a disruption in their supply chain has massive ramifications for pricing as well as for disrupting the supply chain and how you get access to coffee as well as the big supermarkets. So the way that roasters are going to have to react to this is going to be rather interesting. We've spoken previously on the podcast about inflation. We've talked about making sure that you're ready to pivot for when these things eventuate. Well, they're eventuating. What we can very clearly see is that the C market is ramping up since the beginning of this year. 2 years ago when we had started talking, or 3 years ago when we had started talking about the coffee price crisis, what we noted was that coffee was at 46 cents. Since then, it has taken a steep increase, and we are, as we're speaking, at 154 on the C market. Now, when you look at that and you add differentials to different things, depending on the coffee that you're buying, what you're starting to see is that if commodity prices are being priced at a minimum at 154, the coffees that you used to be buying, whether they be specialty or commodity, have increased significantly over the last couple of years. That, together with the challenges in supply through disruption, are going to start to really squeeze your ability to get access to coffee. You're going to end up in bidding wars. You're going to end up having to fight over coffee that you would normally have had much easier access to. And we're seeing across the world, we're seeing people say, we don't have access to coffee. We're finding it really difficult to get access to the coffees that we normally had access to. Now we're having to go and find other coffees that from origins we've never tried before. And this means that we have to introduce different kinds of coffees to our customers that we don't know if they're going to be into or not. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether you should or shouldn't do that. What I'm here to tell you is you're going to have to do that. If you didn't go through the process months ago when we were saying to people, secure your supply chain, secure your supply chain. If you didn't get to do that and you didn't get across it then, you may find yourself needing to go to different lengths to get access to coffee. And another caveat to that, just because you did say or secure your contracts from before, if people can't get access to the coffee that they were getting access to before, if they can't get it because shipping companies have delayed and they physically can't bring it into the country, once it comes into the country, it will be yours if you've paid for it already. However, you may not get that coffee for months beyond what you thought you'd get it. Now, this has happened before. This is not new, but it's never been common. It used to be an event that happened every now and then. Right now, we're seeing it happen everywhere. And so what I would encourage you to do is to prepare your business immediately for this disruption and start working together as a roasting team and as a cafe team if you're not roasting and just buying, but start working to solution what will happen if you need to present new kinds of coffees to your customers, whether they be your B2B customers, your wholesale customers, or your B2C customers, so direct to consumer. This challenging couple of years is really putting our industry to the test, and it's putting small business owners' feet to the fire everywhere. And what it's trying to tell all of us is, how adaptable are you? How willing are you to be malleable to change? And just when we thought the pandemic was kind of finding its new stride and calming down a little, this new variant comes in and kicks our ass, and then we have all these shipping delays and we've got inflation going crazy everywhere. But I think we've got a long way to go with this inflation thing, and I really hope that I'm wrong, but we're not done yet, folks. And we're just going to have to keep figuring this out as we go. It feels like this is the kind of new normal for some time of meeting these supply chain challenges. And let's hope that the prices don't go up too high. At least the producers are going to start to get paid a little more. But they're also up against the same challenges as us, them having to pay for inflated wages, and not inflated, higher wages, which are still too low for what they should be. But higher shipping costs, higher packaging, higher everything. It's being experienced everywhere across all sectors. So take care of yourself and please stay across it all. If you enjoyed this content, please consider giving us a like. It helps us convince the algorithms that the content's worth it. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.